Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon. Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 11 Review. The staggering ending completely changes the show for the better. Oh, how much can change in a week for Yellowstone Season 5, Part 2. Episode 11, 353, is eons better than its predecessor, The Apocalypse of Change. Following the November 24 episode, Taylor Sheridan's TV show can finally get down to business. Hopefully, the confusing flashbacks, which are correctly presented and utilized in Episode 11, as opposed to Episode 10, are a thing of the past. Now, Yellowstone Season 5 can focus on developing and advancing its present story surrounding the treacherous war between Beth Dutton and Jamie Dutton. The Dutton family war in Yellowstone Season 5, which has been building since the show's beginning, should take precedence. Thankfully, the events of Episode 11 suggest that the full-blown battle between Beth and Jamie is finally upon us. Characters are taking sides, and if we thought the war was deadly before 353, the latest episode proves that no one is safe during the fight over the Yellowstone Dutton Ranch. Unlike the wasteful Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 10, 353 is comprehensive. When the hour opens, the timeline is clear. Of course, that is partly because of Episode 10's events, but Episode 11 is much easier to understand regarding when each scene is taking place. It also helps that the hour begins on the night of John Dutton IE's murder, which fills in a lot of blanks surrounding his death, meaning the story can now move forward. The scene is full of exposition but is still intriguing to watch. After showing how Kevin Costner's Yellowstone character died, Season 5 finally gets the ball rolling. Episode 11 features many developments that seemingly set up the neo-Western drama's final episodes, including Case's investigation into his father's death, Stephen Rawlings taking over John's job as the governor of Montana, Stephen filing for Jamie's recusal, the Duttons losing the Yellowstone becoming all but imminent, and more. Ultimately, there were only two things to complain about after watching 353. The political jargon is a little heavy-handed, and Rip, one of the Yellowstone franchise's best characters, is absent for most of the hour. Other than that, Episode 11 was enthralling from beginning to end, and it made me want to watch the next hour immediately after. Thankfully, fans only have to wait 1 week to see what happens next. One of Season 5, Episode 11's shining moments is when Case storms into the medical examiner's office, demanding them to look at his father's body again. Given his character, Case stays calm, cool, and collected through it all. He comes prepared and presents coherent reasons for why John was likely murdered, and he gets the job done. If it wasn't for Case, John's death would have always been believed to be self-inflicted. Instead, Case's determination pays off, and his father's case reopens. Case finally has a purpose in Yellowstone Season 5, allowing his character to step into the spotlight more than ever, which is a good thing. Yellowstone Season 5 is giving Case his due, and Luke Grimes is making the most of it. As mentioned above, the scene at the medical examiner's office is a standout for the character and actor, proving why Case is one of the best parts of Yellowstone Season 5, Part 2. However, Case confronting Jamie, who gives a passionate and convincing plea why he's innocent, is just as memorable. Casey's persistence to avenge his father's death and his caring nature are at war, as displayed in the scene in Jamie's office. But once Case confirms the truth, Jamie should be as afraid of his brother as he is of his sister. While Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 11 is entertaining for almost the entire hour, its most surprising and game-changing moment comes at the end when Sarah Atwood is murdered. Following Jamie and Sarah's verbal and physical fight, she drives away. Like the wounded puppy he is, though, Jamie immediately calls Sarah and apologizes. Unfortunately, while they are on the phone, a car pulls up next to Sarah at a stoplight. The couple inside pretend to ask Sarah for directions before the man brutally shoots the Yellowstone Season 5, Part 2 character, and Jamie hears it all happen. Jamie's frenzy teases how his reaction to Sarah's death will likely influence his actions. It's unclear who is behind Sarah's death, as the people in the car were hired to kill her. But once Jamie finds out, he can turn quite deadly. If Beth had anything to do with Sarah's murder, the war between her and Jamie just got all the more complicated and interesting. While Jamie had a leg up on his sister heading into Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 11, the scales might have tipped in Beth's favor, making the remaining episodes all the more exciting and mysterious. Yellowstone Season 5, Episode 11 delivered a seismic shift in the series, redefining its core dynamics and reshaping its future trajectory. This episode's staggering ending has not only left fans buzzing, but also reinvigorated the show's narrative, which had been simmering in anticipation of something monumental. With brilliant writing, pitch-perfect performances, and an ending that feels both shocking and inevitable, Episode 11 cements itself as a game-changer for Yellowstone. A deep dive into chaos. From the opening scene, it was clear that this episode aimed to raise the stakes. The conflict between John Dutton, Kevin Costner, and the forces threatening his empire reached a boiling point, with legal battles, political intrigue, and family betrayals all colliding. As the Dutton patriarch, John continues to grapple with the moral cost of maintaining his legacy, but Episode 11 forced him to confront consequences he'd long managed to avoid. The episode's pacing was deliberate, allowing moments of tension to simmer before exploding in unexpected ways. Early scenes between Beth, Kelly Riley, and Jamie, Wes Bentley, hinted at the brewing storm within the family. Their sibling rivalry, which has always been the show's emotional backbone, took on new dimensions as Jamie made a bold play to wrest power from John. Beth, with her unrelenting ferocity, countered in ways that felt both calculated and deeply personal. Their confrontation midway through the episode was a masterclass in dialogue and acting, layering decades of resentment and betrayal into a single electrifying scene. Rip Wheeler's moment of reckoning. Rip Wheeler, Cole Hauser, often the stoic enforcer of the Duttons' will, faced a pivotal arc in Episode 11. For years, Rip's loyalty to John and his love for Beth have defined his character, but this episode forced him to question the price of that devotion. A harrowing sequence on the ranch, involving a devastating loss of livestock due to sabotage, pushed Rip to his breaking point. His quiet rage and subsequent actions underscored the moral complexity of his role in the Dutton machine. Rip's interactions with Carter, Finn Little, provided a rare glimpse of vulnerability. As a surrogate father figure, Rip's moments of mentorship and reflection added emotional depth to the episode. These scenes not only humanized Rip, but also highlighted the cyclical nature of power and legacy within the Yellowstone universe. Monica and Case's fragile peace. Monica, Kelsey Asbill, and Case, Luke Grimes, found themselves at a crossroads in Episode 11. Their storyline has often provided a quieter, more introspective counterpoint to the show's high-octane drama, and this episode was no exception. Monica's continued grief over their lost child and Case's struggle to balance his loyalty to his family with his desire for peace culminated in a poignant moment of reconciliation. A heartfelt conversation between the two characters served as a reminder of what's at stake beyond the ranch. Monica's plea for a simpler life, away from the chaos of the Dutton legacy, was both heartbreaking and hopeful. It's a storyline that feels deeply grounded, providing an emotional anchor amidst the show's escalating tension. A shocking betrayal. The episode's climax revolved around a shocking betrayal that will undoubtedly have far-reaching consequences. Jamie, emboldened by his alliance with market equities and his newfound political leverage, made a move that left the Dutton family reeling. His decision to publicly accuse John of corruption and misuse of state resources was a dagger aimed directly at the heart of the family empire. Beth's reaction was as visceral as fans have come to expect, but it was John's response that truly stunned. For a character who's built his life on control and dominance, the realization that his carefully constructed world might crumble was portrayed with devastating subtlety. Kevin Costner's performance in these final moments was nothing short of extraordinary, capturing the weight of John's legacy slipping through his fingers. The staggering ending. The final minutes of episode 11 delivered a twist that will forever change the trajectory of Yellowstone. A coordinated attack on the ranch, orchestrated by unseen enemies, left viewers in shock. The sheer audacity of the assault, both physical and symbolic, underscored the scale of the Duttons' vulnerabilities. The imagery of the burning fields and injured livestock was haunting, a visceral reminder of what's at stake. As John and Rip surveyed the devastation, a chilling realization set in. The Duttons are no longer untouchable. This moment of vulnerability, juxtaposed with the family's relentless pursuit of power, created a powerful narrative tension that will undoubtedly fuel the remainder of the season.